Good morning, everyone. How are you all doing? I hope everyone is doing well today. I'm excited to talk to you about sleep and how it impacts your fitness and just your overall day and your overall health. So I'm going to share my screen with you, and we are going to go ahead and get started. Always forget the flow of this. This is a perfect day because some of you may be feeling a little sluggish if you stayed up to watch the Super Bowl tonight. And maybe you slept through your alarm and you didn't get that 5 a.m. workout or 6 a.m. workout in. I know I am not in that club this morning. And that is okay. We need to continue to honor our body with sleep and rest. So, we're going to talk about the power of rest for our workouts, and that it's not just the hours that impact it, but what happens during rest that is important. And when I say rest, I'm meaning the hours in which we're sleeping, but also the time in between our exercise routines. So, that will be another topic for more in depth on another day, but I will touch on that throughout this presentation today about it's not just how we're sleeping, but are we allowing good rest, like a 24-hour day of rest for our body to rest and recover. Okay, so the three pillars of health are our diet. Diet just means what are we eating? What is our diet like? What is our lifestyle like in regards to food? I think often when we hear the word diet, it means that we're restricting. That's not what it means. It means what are the kinds of foods that we're eating? What's our nutrition like? What does the diet typically look like? It can be intermixed with nutrition, it could be food. All those words mean the same thing. So if you hear a doctor or a practitioner talk about diet, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to go on a diet and that there's restriction. It is just asking what our diet looks like. Our diet is what we eat. Then we have exercise and movement. How much are we moving? What kind of exercises are we doing? What kind of routine have we developed? Are we consistent? Are we walking to work for our cardiovascular health? Are we lifting for our skeletal health and our metabolic health? And then the last one is sleep. Sleep is so important, and it hasn't been up until about the last 2 or 3 years that I've really realized just how important sleep has been. I do think there is a gift between the ages of like 18 and 30 where we can function on a little bit less sleep than the average person. And my mom always jokes that there's a reason you have babies when you're younger because it gets harder as we get older. And there is some science to that, right? Our melatonin decreases, things start to shift, the demands of the world kind of weigh on us a little bit. We've been through some stuff, and our sleep becomes more important, and our sleep becomes something that we need to be more in control of so that we can be more in control of our diet and our exercise as we age. So, what happens when we sleep? We need to view sleep as the reset part of your healing process. Okay, so this has to, I want you to just take a second and not just think of sleep as like when we're doing nothing. I want you to start thinking of sleep as the phase in which we reset and how we heal. Okay, there's three phases of sleep, and each phase of sleep provides a different purpose for your body. We have shallow sleep, that's like that light sleep, it's like a quick rest. It's that first phase. Then we go to slow wave sleep, kind of going into it. And then we have our REM. We have where we are getting good sleep, where our body's in this deep sleep. And this pattern repeats every 90 minutes. When this pattern is disrupted, okay, so if we're starting sleep and we have shallow sleep, we're getting into that deeper sleep, but then we get interrupted. In between that shallow and slow, now we have to start that whole cycle over again. And then we get interrupted and we start that whole cycle over again. So we cannot get into that full REM sleep until we go through the whole cycle. This pattern will repeat every 90 minutes. When this pattern gets disrupted, it sends a cascade effects into the next day. You'll probably understand as I start to talk about this that when we get not so great sleep. Maybe we have more cravings, our energy's up, we're dragging through our workout, our motivation for the day is low, our productivity is lower, our energy is lower, our irritability goes up, we're hungrier, we feel less in control. Those are all symptoms of not great sleep. So if there's anything that we can start with that's simple and free, it's our sleep. We just need to take better control of it and understand it better. So what happens when sleep is disrupted? Your ability to reason is compromised. It's kind of what I just mentioned. Our hunger cues go up, our hunger hormones go up, we lose the ability to make sound decisions. We lose the ability to make good choices because we're just tired. Our brain is literally fatigued of rest and oxygen. We increase our stress hormones, which leads to an increase in our sympathetic nervous system, which starts to put our body into fight or flight mode. Overall stress increases, and this will affect the next sleep cycle as well. Your mood, your energy, and your body weight are all affected by our sleep. Increased risk of cardiovascular disease, gastrointestinal disease, and immune suppression. So, if you're, I always tell my kids, like, the first thing, the best thing that we can do for our health is sleep. And I'm instilling this in my kids so much, especially as they get older and they become athletes. My youngest son, it was a Thursday night and he ran into bed and he got in and he was like, I'm ready to go to bed. I'm like, you're ready to go to sleep already? He's like, yep, I got to get good sleep for my basketball game. His basketball game was Saturday morning, but he has heard me over and over and over again with my older two. We need to get good sleep starting multiple nights before we need the actual energy. It all starts to compound. So when we can focus on our sleep, we start to put our body into a better position to respond to the things that we need it to do and the things we want it to do. It's during this time that the mitochondria, so we're going back to school here, that those little cells, the energy powerhouses of our cells, are working overtime to repair and optimize your body for peak performance. The mitochondria are working so hard to provide the fuel, which is the form of ATP, and this is for your muscles and your organs. Your mitochondria need time to recover and regenerate, and sleep is the key to that process. Sleep is when that happens. So you can be showing up every single day to your workout, but if we're only getting 5 hours of sleep, your cells are not reproducing, your cells are not repairing in order to go 100%, right? So let me use this for an example. If you wake up on Monday and you got great sleep Sunday night, 100%, your body's functioning at 100%. You're great, you give all to your workout. Monday night, you work late. You're working late, the kids are out late, and it's 11 o'clock before you go to bed, and it's 5 a.m. You get barely 6 hours of sleep, and now you're going to the gym again, and you're asking your body to do what it did yesterday. Your body has not had the 7 to 9 hours that it needs in order to repair and optimize your body for performance. So you go into this workout at 5 a.m. on Tuesday, and you're like waking up and you're like 80%. And you give all you have, which is 80%, but it's not 100. You give 100% of the 80% that you can give, but it's not 100. Then on Wednesday, same thing. We're getting 5 hours, 6 hours of sleep. We get up, we ask our body, we're not feeling so great today. We're functioning at 60%. We go in and we give all we have. We push, right? Like we're giving what we have. We're giving those 3 miles, but the 3 miles are at 9 minutes. We're on Monday, the 3 miles we're on, 8:30, right? Or we're lifting 15 pounds of dumbbells on Monday, and now we're doing 12 pounds on Wednesday because that's all we can handle. And we're doing it and we're showing up, and that's awesome. But we're only showing up to the 60% that's there. And it just dwindles throughout the week. And we're not able to make these gains in our exercise. We're not able to push past, or we're having to accommodate things because our body's not getting adequate rest. So we need to make sure that we get good sleep, because while we're sleeping, our body is working so hard to be able to work optimally the next day. Sleep is also important for your metabolic regulation. When you're well rested, your mitochondria work more efficiently to metabolize your fat and carbohydrates. Rest is essential for where your body can get back to that factory settings and it can wake up and it is ready to go. It's ready to work optimally to metabolize the fat and carbohydrates that it needs for energy throughout the day. This means that your body can tap into those fat reserves for energy more effectively, especially during endurance exercise and helping you perform longer and higher intensity. So kind of what I was just mentioning, where if we're lacking and we're noticing that throughout the week, towards the end of the week, we're like, oh, it's Friday, it was a hard day of my workout. That's because our sleep and our rest the whole week have dwindled as well. They go hand in hand. When we get good sleep, when our mitochondria can reset, when we can refuel those cells, and our cells can work more efficiently to work through the fat and carbohydrates that we need, we are able to better perform, get bigger, better, faster, stronger, even in our stage of life. Poor sleep disrupts the body's ability to metabolize fat properly. This is going to leave you feeling sluggish and more likely to rely on the quick sugar-based energy rather than fat, which limits endurance and increases fatigue. So, our sleep is also about our metabolic health and regulation. If we're not getting optimal sleep, we're doing our body a disservice. And I'm not saying one night a week, like that happens, life happens. What I'm talking about is if we're staying up until midnight and we're getting up at 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. every day, number one, the time is just not enough. It really is 7 to 9 is where our body feels greatest. But the other piece of that is we're not sleeping in a normal, I shouldn't say normal, in a circadian rhythm that is authentic to you. My guess is that, we hear night owls, we hear morning people. That's fine. If you can sleep from 12 to 9, 12 to 8, maybe that's your body's natural rhythm. Most of us are going to feel tired by 9, 10, 11 o'clock. And if we're starting to feel tired at 8:30, 9 o'clock, 9:30, society tells us it's too early to go to bed. And so we push and we get a second wind and we stay up and then we can't fall asleep. I encourage you to pay attention to that first, it's kind of like a hunger cue, that first sleep cue of, I'm tired, I'm going to go to bed, and see what happens for a week. Just see what happens for a week. When you honor that first rush of fatigue and tired, and your body starts to feel like I'm ready to go to bed versus pushing through to complete 2 or 3 more tasks or to watch the next show. So the mitochondria are responsible for creating the energy the muscle requires for exercise. When we don't have our mitochondria getting replenished and refueling, we're not going to have enough energy for our muscles to prolong into that exercise. Oh, I did it twice. Sorry. Poor sleep. When we get 4 hours or less, it reduces the function of the mitochondria. So kind of what I was saying, where one night it might not be so bad, but after we do this night after night after night after night, that's when we start to really notice that the function of the mitochondria, how well we're able to repair those cells over and over again, starts to take its effect. So when the mitochondria energy is reduced, that starts to affect our organ function, our brain, our sleep, it starts to affect our organs like our heart, our muscles, and our brain. So we start to get brain fog. We start to lack energy. We start to lack control. We feel like we just can't give it our all, right? So paying attention to how often we're letting our sleep patterns get out of our rhythm, okay? Paying attention to that. Are we getting consistent hours, consistent nights of good quality sleep? 5 hours per night, you start to see the effects on the whole body and how your hormones will help or hinder your body's response to the fitness routine you're already in a nutshell. Okay. So if we're sleeping 5 to 6 hours, I really would encourage you to get to that 6, 7. And even at that point, I would encourage you to say, are you forcing your body up because that's when we're trying to do it all? Or is that a time when your body naturally wants to wake up and naturally can? So just as my own personal story here for a moment, and just even in the last couple of days, like we were able to go to bed, Friday night at like 9:30. I woke up pretty on my own at 5:15, 5:30, I think, and I was ready for my day. Same thing on Sunday. We went to bed early Saturday, had an early morning on Sunday. Last night, I still went to bed at like 9:45. My body was so tired this morning. I slept until 6:30. I just allowed my body to sleep because I knew that it needed it. So I would encourage you to just be considerate of yourself and say, am I forcing my body up at this time every morning? Or is this really when my body naturally wants to wake up? And if that's when your body naturally wants to wake up, I would encourage you to check out the back end of bedtime, excuse me, to see if you can make it earlier so that you can start getting the hours that you need. And sometimes by improving the hours that we go to sleep, we start to improve the quality of our sleep because we're not trying to push past the threshold. I pushed past a threshold last night. I could totally feel it. I knew that I was pushing past it, trying to watch that Super Bowl game. And then I got sucked into some memes and reels about the Super Bowl, right? Like I knew I was pushing past. I was falling asleep on the couch. I just needed to go to bed at that first sign of sleep, and I would have had a much more restful evening throughout the night. So making sure you get adequate sleep by 7 to 9 hours per night. One way to do that is the same bedtime and the same wake up time, even on the weekends. So you just heard me say I got up at 5:30 on a Saturday. Now my life may be a little bit different than yours, and that actually feels really well to me, and it's great, and I was so excited. But I typically go to bed in between 9 and 10, and I wake up in between 5 and 6. That is like clockwork all week long. I know what my body needs. It's this last point right here, find your sweet spot. It's taken trial and error, and it's taking me learning and paying attention. If you have an Apple Watch or an Oura Ring or a Fitbit or anything that can track your sleep, I would really encourage you to lean into that and to lean into the cues that it's telling you. Take that data, take that information, and learn from it so that you can start to set that precedent for yourself, that standard of, I used to be 11 p.m., but I've learned that I can go to bed at 10 o'clock and I get not only more sleep, but I get better sleep, which allows me to better function and to actually get up and be ready for my workout at 6 a.m. instead of waking up and dragging to go to the gym or to go to the basement or go out for a walk. No caffeine after 2. That can be soda, energy drinks, anything like that that's going to stimulate you. I think the shelf life for adults is like 4 to 7 hours, depending on your body and how quickly you metabolize caffeine. I metabolize it pretty quickly. So just again, learning your body, knowing trial and error. It might be 3 o'clock for you, it might be 4 o'clock, but I definitely would not have it after 3 because that will start to disrupt your sleep patterns. Keep the bed comfortable, not having it too hot, not too cold. This could be your whole bedroom or this could be your bed. I invested into a a heated sheet, and that has been so good to help calm my nervous system before I go to bed. It helps calm my body down, and I feel like I sleep so great. I have mine on a timer, so it comes off after like 2 hours so that it's not the whole night. And it just helps me fall asleep. You might need a cooling sheet. Maybe you need to check the sheets on your bed. Don't sleep with a heavy comforter if you get hot. Check the pajamas that you're wearing and how you're sleeping and what you're sleeping in can affect the temperature of your body. Um, Avoid alcohol 3 to 4 hours before bedtime. This is serious, purely so that if we stay up, it can help metabolize in your system a little bit better. We just had a whole month on the effects of alcohol. So if that is hitting home for you, please see the resources page and the modules, and all of those are right in there. If you're struggling and can't find that content and want it, please reach out to one of us and we will get that information to you. But the effects of alcohol on our sleep are tenfold. Exercise in the morning, early PM, but try to avoid those first hours before bed. If we're going to bed at 10 and we're working out at 8, our endorphins are going to be high. We're going to be pumped. It's going to be pretty difficult to get our body into this state of rest. So just pay attention to that. Again, it's not one of those things that it's a never do. It's a don't always do. If our pattern is to work out at 8 p.m. every night and then we struggle to sleep, it's time to figure out a new time to work out. If we work out one night at 8 p.m., we'll probably be okay. So exercise in the morning, figure out your routine. I've decided for myself that on busy days where we got to be out the door or I've got to get my kids ready by a certain time, early mornings are not my jam. I need to move that to the mid-morning or mid-afternoon while they're at school and our morning's a little bit slower because it just pushes my body into this high cortisol state right out of the gate. And then I struggle the whole day to come back down. So sometimes it's 9 or 10 a.m. and sometimes it's 1 or 2 p.m. depending on my schedule. But if you listened to a call a couple weeks ago, I take my time, I plan those out. I know what days my workout is going to be when. 30 to 60 minutes to relax before bedtime. I loved this, and this is something that I have started implementing in my life too. Is like I can tell the difference of like tonight will be a good example. We're gonna come through the door at 8:15, 8:30, and I'm gonna have to get my kids ready. And then I can't just go to bed. When I go to bed after that like high stress state of getting stuff, I don't get good sleep. I need some wind down time. And it's not work, it's not folding laundry, it's not cleaning the kitchen, it's not doing anything like that. It's I'm just sitting in my bed. Maybe I'm reading my Kindle, a Kindle, maybe a paperback book, something that doesn't have technology lighting on it to save you from that blue light. Um, I don't love TV, but if you're gonna watch TV, something that's light and funny. I go to bed totally different if I watch an episode of Friends before I go to bed versus watching like a thriller, right? So paying attention to if you are in that TV habit before bed, even just changing what you're watching is going to change your body's internal response to that. There are certain shows, and I'm like, yeah, that's not happening at nighttime because I know I'm not going to sleep well because I'm going to be stressed. It's not even like I'm scared of something, it's just that stress response. And then that's going to affect how I sleep, how long I sleep, and how I'm able to wake up and work out in the morning. So, like I said, find your sweet spot. This will take trial and error, but use your tools around you, your watches, pay attention to trends. Maybe if you're on a staycation or the weekend allows you to just turn off your alarm, go to bed at a time that feels good for you, and then just let your body sleep until it naturally wakes up. If you have the gift to do that, I would encourage you to do that. Sundays, I typically do that. It's my Sunday sleep-in day. And I take my alarm off and I let my body rest until I need to rest. So try to gift yourself that 1 or 2 days a week that you can just wake up without an alarm. And then when you know that your body is more ready to wake up. Sleepover workouts. This means if you can't get into bed before 10, I do not think that 5 a.m. workout is a good idea because we're not, you're getting barely maybe 6 hours of sleep. Like if we're real here, that 5 a.m. workout, 5:30 a.m., that means if we're going at 5:30 in the morning, that means we're probably waking up at 4:30 in order to get dressed, get ready, hopefully have something to eat, or pack something for directly afterward. And then we're driving to the gym or walking down to the gym, and then we have this workout. And so we're starting our day on a little sleep. We're not in this great circadian rhythm routine of the hours that we're sleeping. Um, and then we're waking up and we're putting a lot of stress on our body right away at 5 a.m. So again, this is not a never. This is a can we take this away and see what happens? Can we take away that 5 a.m. workout and see how our body heals, see how our body responds? And you might need to give it more than a week. You might need to give it a couple weeks, maybe a month, and see how your body responds with more rest, more recovery. See if your energy returns. See if you start to sleep better because you're in a more natural rhythm for your body. And then once you kind of figure that out, you can take the next step to say, okay, 5 a.m. clearly is not working for my body. What's the latest I can start my workout that I have to be ready for my day? And see if there's any space there. And then if that doesn't work, then we look into the midday, mid lunch, and maybe post work to see if we could get that excuse me, workout into another area of time. If we can't get into another area of time, then I suggest picking like 2 or 3 days a week that you get up at that early time to get your workout session in because there are benefits to working out, and I don't want you to never do it. But maybe we don't do it every day. So maybe Saturday and Sunday are workout days, and maybe one day during the week. So you allow your body good, adequate rest and recovery so that when you show up to your workouts, you're able to give everything that you have, and everything that you have is 100%. Okay, that is the last I have for you in terms of slides. So I really just want to encourage you to pay attention to how your body is responding to your sleep and how that's impacting your workouts. So you could take a journal and you could start journaling like, hey, I got 7 hours of sleep. My workout felt this. Hey, I got 6 hours of sleep. My workout felt this. I got 4 hours of sleep, my workout felt this. And just start to make those connections for you. Because what I would hate for you to be doing is doing all this work in your 45-minute session, but you're not seeing the gains that you want in terms of gaining some muscle mass, gaining some strength, gaining some muscle to help your metabolism so that you can lose a few pounds or improve your metabolism, improve your insulin resistance, all those things. I would hate for you to be doing all this work, but because we're not giving our body adequate rest and recovery, we're not seeing the gains during that time. So just take some time, evaluate where you're at in terms of how many hours are you sleeping and are you getting into good sleep? I'm sure most of us have a tracker. I have the Aura Ring and it gives me great feedback. It's pretty spot on for me and it is incredibly, incredibly helpful to stay on track, not on track, to stay in rhythm with what works with my body best. And that's what I want for you. I want you to embrace the rhythm that your body naturally presents itself and see how you can make that fit in your lifestyle and fit with your workouts. So if you need any help on this, please let me know. Just comment below this video, comment below the post, and we can connect to work together to find your best rhythm and routine for sleep and your fitness so that you get the most out of your fitness when you're able to show up.